Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Kine, and today's Halloween makeup tutorial is of the original diva, Miss Lucifer, aka the devil, the demon, Satan, whatever you call it in your language. I did like the girl version because I don't own any short hair wigs and I wanted black hair to cover the base of the headband. And I mean, let's be honest, the best part of Halloween is that you have an excuse to cross-dress. And Halloween is just when everyone's true personalities come out, huh? With that being said, here are the basic supplies you need to create this costume. But before we jump into the makeup, I'll be showing you how I created my horns. Now first, I'm going to be doing the smaller forehead horns, and I'm creating these out of polymorph thermoplastic, which are these tiny white plastic pellets. But when you put them in hot water, they turn clear, and you can take them out and mold it while it's hot. So when it's hot, it kind of has a consistency of like Play-Doh, except it's not messy or dirty. And while I have time to mold it, I'm going to roll it a little and flatten one side down on the table to start creating the horn shape. Basically, the shape is like a cone, except more wrinkly, rough, kind of curvy at the tip. You all know what a horn looks like. When you're happy with the shape, you can leave it out to dry, but to ensure that it holds the shape as it is, and also to make it faster, you can put it into cold water for a quick dry and it'll go back to white, as you can see here. You can melt it back down and reuse it however many times you want, which is a great thing about this stuff. But now I'll be painting it. And I'm just using some cream face paints, applying brown, yellow, and red mainly, keeping it mostly concentrated on the base and leaving it more blank and white at the tip. But don't worry about getting it perfect now, since when we glue it onto our forehead later, we can always add more paint. Now for the larger goat horns, I'll be using a different method, which is tinfoil and latex tissues, starting with a small clump of tinfoil and then keep adding layers, compacting it and molding it into the desired shape. Polymorph plastic is probably like 10 times easier and faster, but it's not really practical for larger props like these, since it would be a lot heavier than tinfoil and we need it to be able to stick to a headband. So once you've got your shape down with the tinfoil, you're going to take some liquid latex and some tissue paper and start applying this all over the tinfoil. Now, if you have liquid glue, like the white glue that you used to use in kindergarten, I recommend that so much more than latex. Listen, I've used white glue before when I made tinfoil horns in the past and it's cheaper, dries faster, but I sadly ran out of mine and instead of going to the store to buy some more, I just use my latex, which works pretty much just the same. Basically, the reason we do this is because the tinfoil doesn't take well to paint at all. If you paint over it, the paint is not going to stick and it won't cover up the silver, so we need to create a surface layer over top that we can paint on. So give the latex about a day to dry, or at the very least overnight. When it's fully dry, to paint it. Again, like I said, I'm going to be doing something I wouldn't recommend, which is using water-activated face paints. The reason I don't recommend it is because it takes a while to dry and they're more expensive than using normal acrylic paint. Acrylic paint is meant for crafts like these, but I ran out of my green colors, so I just used face paints. Do as I say, not as I do. To create a brown from primary colors, I pretty much just mixed all of the colors. Ideally, you want to mix an orange and green, but that's just what? Red, yellow, blue, and more yellow. And add a black to the base so it's darker there and lighter at the tip, just like the other horns. When it comes time to glue it to your cheap dollar store headband, you can orient it so that it's pointing up like a bull, but I chose to point it down like a goat. I think it just looks more evil that way. And I'm gluing it to the headband with a hot glue gun, using a lot of glue. Also, just one word of advice, though it may be tempting to try it on your head once it's glued on, I advise you to make sure the glue is dry, otherwise you get hot glue in your hair. Sounds like it's common sense, but I learned this the hard way. But that's the finished horns, everyone, so now we are going to move on to the makeup. I'm gonna start by gluing down my brows with spirit gum. This way, when I put on liquid latex, it won't rub out my brow hairs, but still be careful and use remover when you take it off. Once it's dry, cover it with powder, and then you're gonna put liquid latex and cotton balls on this area to create a furrowed, angry-looking eyebrow. And just keep layering latex and cotton so that there's a high bump, but it still blends into the surrounding skin. And you do that by blending in the cotton into the skin in each and every layer. Then similarly, I'm going to make some cheekbones with the same exact technique, angling the ends downwards so that the center of the face is kind of like this upside down triangle. And then we're going to put some more latex buildup on the chin to make the face look longer and pointier. The whole technique is very similar to my old aged Wicked Witch makeup. But now is where things get different. Here, I'm taking that small forehead horn and I'm gluing it to my forehead with spirit gum, but then I realized that spirit gum is not really that strong of a hold since it kept falling off, and the horn was too heavy, I think, so I added cotton and latex all around it to act as like a wall to hold it in place, which was effective. I just had to make sure I held the horn the entire time while it was drying. Give everything lots of time to dry, and then we're gonna start painting. Start by taking red and putting this everywhere as a base. It's gonna look rough, it's gonna look patchy, especially on the cotton and latex buildups, but by now you know that rough and patchy is my channel's aesthetic. No, but in all seriousness, we can always fix that just by adding more coverage. It's gonna look very flat though, since it's all just red, so we need to add highlights and contours for dimension. I start by highlighting underneath the brow bone so that the brows look very arched and angry, and then I'm using more white and highlighting under the eyes in the triangle, because this is a Kim Kardashian makeup tutorial. Using black paint mixed with red, we're gonna add some shadow and dimension to the cheekbone prosthetic, blending it with the base color using that same sponge. Now using black eyeshadow, you're gonna make a black smoky eye going all the way around the eye, as well as shading in the nasolabial fold, and continue with that black shadow on a larger brush and contour the perimeter of the face. Then we're gonna use black face paint to create the eyebrows, following the shape that we made with cotton and latex, and then add finishing details like the under eye wrinkles, the nostril wrinkles. Basically want to make it look like you just demand to speak to the manager. Then I added some black to my lips to see if that would look good, and then I realized I looked like a cheap prostitute, so I decided to blend it away, but I'm keeping that idea in my back pocket. That's the finished look, folks. Oh my god, I can't believe I just said folks. I added these yellow contact lenses and a black wig to help hide the headband, but this is what it looks like with the big goat horns. Let me know what you thought of this tutorial, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!